Hello and welcome back to the Fastest Podcast, where we cover everything from the greatest overtakes to the fastest pit stops. I'm Jazz, and today with me I have Dobra. Two of us today.
Hi. Just the two.
Just us two, yeah. How are we going to cope?
It's you who has to go. I'm fine.
It's always a good time. It's always a good time. So today we are going to be talking about big story of the week, and that is the ongoing case between McLaren and Alex Palou. We asked on social media what you guys wanted to hear from us this weekend, and this is what the viewers chose. So yeah, always keep an eye on our social media because we are always asking what sort of content you guys want, and if you're new here, make sure you like and subscribe so that you can see stuff as it's coming out. We've always got something going on. So
Yeah, like, subscribe, follow, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, Threads. That's up to you.
website, we're everywhere.
We're everywhere. Discord.
Yes. Discord, yeah. But no, today the main focus for us will be the ongoing situation between McLaren and Palou. Dogra, take it away.
All right, so we'll be doing a new format today. So I'll be the guy with the burning questions, and Jazz would be our resident McLaren expert. I'm pointing towards her. I hope that's clear. So then we'll be discussing as to what's actually going on and what are the implications that this can have to McLaren's current F1 situation. So, yeah. So, Jazz, can you tell us in brief what happened between McLaren and Alex Palou and how much money is involved?
Well, the money is kind of the central part of this whole thing. It is a case based on damages, so how much money will be exchanged between both parties. So essentially, this goes all the way back to 2021 when Palou started to become kind of a championship contender with Chip Ganassi Racing in IndyCar. So this is not even a Formula One thing. This is the whole motorsport world. Broader than F1. So essentially, Palou was with Chip Ganassi, and McLaren, who have their Arrow McLaren IndyCar team, decided they were interested. Zak Brown is American. He's very big in motorsport marketing. So obviously they are going to want to have an American driver in their American racing team.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was going to be sort of a good move for them as well, because McLaren haven't been in IndyCar for a super long time. So this would have been a nice way for them to kind of establish strong fan base as well.
Yeah.
McLaren showed an interest in Palou, and they basically said, okay, we want to offer you our seat at Arrow McLaren. With that, we would also like to offer you the opportunity to be our development driver for McLaren Formula One team. And with that, who knows what could happen? You could end up in an F1 seat. So this is a big point of contention between both parties, because as things kind of begin to unfurl throughout 2021, 2022, Ganassi decided they were not happy with McLaren, and they basically say, this is a big breach for us. It starts going backwards and forwards, as these matters between teams and drivers often do. And it's finally decided upon that McLaren will have Palou in Arrow McLaren for 2023. This is after a lot of disputes between Ganassi, Palou, McLaren. It's a very big mess, essentially, across both teams. But at this point, 2023, Palou will be the Aaron McLaren driver for 2023, actually. Sorry, let me just clarify that. He will be the driver for the 2023 season. And yeah, Ganassi are kind of, they've conceded. Everything's been sorted. Or so we think. Because then Palou is staying at Ganassi Racing. McLaren,
okay.
yeah. McLaren bring Oscar Piastri into the fold on the Formula One side.
Yeah.
Which had a whole mess attached to it anyway. So we're not doing very well in the driver signing department right now at McLaren.
I mean, that entire week was very iconic where Piastri posted that tweet about Alpine and then everything shutters. It's like, what the hell is going on with Alpine? But we won't get into Alpine right now.
That's a whole other podcast. So yes, it's basically confirmed then that Palou will be he's going to be the McLaren development driver for Formula One for 2024 to 2026. The ball is rolling between him and McLaren. It looks like it's going to be a pretty seamless transition. However, Palou then informs McLaren in August 2023, so right when things are getting spicy
Yeah.
everywhere, basically notifies McLaren through his legal team that he will not be honouring his contract from 2024 onwards, and then signs a new contract with Chip Ganassi Racing for 2024 to 2026. So now we come to what's going on at the moment. Ongoing case where McLaren and Aaron McLaren have basically filed a lawsuit in the UK through the commercial court against Palou. Basically saying we invested a lot of money into sponsorships, commitments, things that have not been met. We are asking for $20 million.
Oh god. That's
Now
not
it's not small.
that's a contract amount. A big contract amount. I mean, I don't think even F1, some of the F1 drivers get paid 20 million a year.
Yeah. It is not a small lawsuit. I think the areas where it gets a bit even more messy are in that there are rumours that McLaren had a signing bonus for him. So they've put a lot of money into this move and obviously into contesting with Ganassi. There's a whole lot of manoeuvring on the legal side of things that's been done to acquire him. And then he's basically turned around and said,
Nope.
No, actually, I'm not joining. So this is all basically happening still in 2022. We are still in 2022 at this point. As this is all crumbling around them, McLaren go, here's Oscar Piastri he will be racing with us for the 2023 season, which is important because in his sort of testimony now, Palou is basically saying, well, you brought Piastri into the fold and I just didn't feel confident that I was ever going to get my F1 seat. To which McLaren and Zak Brown are saying, we never promised you an F1 seat. We said you could come and be our development driver. Who knows if you were going to get the F1 seat? You might have done, but we never promised you that. But that, I think, is where a lot of people have kind of got confused with the whole thing because the current lawsuit ongoing, as it stands now in October 2025, this has been going on for a long time. As it stands now, the thing that they are disputing is the damages that Palou owes McLaren. It's actually got nothing to do with him getting an F1 seat or not getting an F1 seat. McLaren says, we invested this money into having you as our driver in some capacity. You did not fulfill your contract. Give it back to us. That is the most simplified version of events. Now, Palou is not disputing the fact that he broke his contract. He's held his hands up and said, I broke my contract. I don't want to give you $20 million. Which, I mean,
Fair.
I don't want to give them $20 million either. No one wants to do that. But McLaren is saying, look, that's the money we put in. You breached the contract. You broke our agreement. So pay up.
Yeah, so let's get some more basics down, right? Was Palou a prospect from McLaren before Piastri came into the picture?
Big grey area. Also, I'd like to apologise for the timeline because it is very confusing. Because obviously all of these contractual things are happening way in advance of when the contracts would have been in place. So we're talking about 2024 in 2022. It's all very confusing, chronologically speaking. So I'd just like to apologise for that at this point. Was he a prospect? See, this is a part of the problem because in Palou's testimony in court this past week, he's basically said Zak Brown didn't even want Piastri. He wanted me. And former team...
I think that's the part that blew everyone up. Yes. The fact that Palou said that Zak Brown specifically did not want Piastri in, and team principal, I don't want to butcher his name. Can you please say it for me?
Who's team principal? Sorry.
The guy that originally brought Piastri in.
Andrea Seidel.
Yes. Andrea Seidel.
Former Andrea Seidel. Yes, he's the former team principal at McLaren.
Funnily enough, their current team principal is also called Andrea.
Yes.
You can't make this up.
You can't. McLaren, I think the timing of this is not boding well for McLaren. Obviously, they've just won the Constructors. There's a lot of discourse on social media at the moment that there's favouritism within the team and that Zak Brown favours Lando Norris, whereas Andrea Stella favours Piastri. That's up for debate. We can neither confirm nor deny. Yeah. But that's so this testimony from Palou does come at a bit of a contentious time for McLaren.
It's actually it's the timing of the events that actually made it far worse than it was. Because of because of what's going on, especially after Singapore, especially after what happened between the McLaren drivers. This whole thing is just not boding well for McLaren currently, and it's not like I don't think they are in any kind of issue. It's just that the PR department is currently working their butts off because we know they're.
Especially they are working hard.
I don't want to make any implications, but then they posted a picture of Zak Brown and Piastri in the same car. Is that damage control? Is it not? We don't know.
I think it's safe to say that some damage control is very much happening at McLaren. Obviously, they would be doing damage control. They're a massive corporation. They do not want a situation where one of their drivers win at the end of the season, because one of their drivers will win, and at the moment Piastri is leading. They do not want a situation where at the end of the season, the CEO doesn't like the world champion, the first one that McLaren's had, and blah, blah, blah. They don't want that situation, and this is is playing quite well into the hands of Palou by dropping that bomb. Obviously, it's serving the media well at the moment. But I mean, we just want to clarify for people what the case actually is about, because that's basically been used as a piece of evidence. The Piastri claim, that's being used by Palou to basically say, for my own career prospects, I had to break that contract because I was never getting that seat. But you promised me that seat because you didn't even want Piastri. That's the reason that he's bringing that up in court, because it strengthens his kind of optics.
Yeah.
It strengthens his case by saying, I shouldn't have to pay that amount of money because you let me down.
It strengthens his case, I guess, but it also causes a domino effect where people are like, see, we knew it. We knew Zak Brown hated Piastri. They just get the bullets, right? They just get the ammo to fire. And I guess like Palou just gave them not just bullets, he gave them a nuclear bomb at this point.
Yeah. I mean, as we say,
Also, we have to make you do the entire podcast in that funny voice.
In the what?
In that funny voice that you did.
What funny voice?
That one.
Oh, okay, that one. Okay. Okay. Next podcast, I'll do it all in that voice.
We will introduce you as a new character on the podcast.
Okay. I'll have an alter ego for next time.
Yep.
But yeah, so this all happened in the summer of 2023, where it all sort of kicks off and everyone's suing everyone and counter-suing and blah, blah, blah. This then takes us to late 2023 when Palou goes, I breached my contract. I did it, but I'm not giving you 20 mil. We've covered that. So now we waited 2024, nothing really happened with the case, and now it's going through court. And it will conclude in November, where they will bring their closing arguments, and they will basically judge, the court will judge who's paying who what, essentially. So we basically had the key witness phase this week, where you've had Zak Brown giving evidence, Alex Palou giving evidence, and now we're having a little break. And yeah, we kind of see what happens in November, where they wrap everything up. There is a lot more to this though, because now we're in court, we come on to more of the evidence. So we've explained about Palou stating that Zak Brown did not want Oscar Piastri. There's also been another hit for McLaren through the form of WhatsApp messages.
Oh no, I completely forgot about that aspect of this case.
Now this is where things start to get dicey. Messier, yeah. Things start to get messier for McLaren, because Palou's team have basically argued that McLaren use a WhatsApp feature, which is disappearing messages, essentially, to communicate. So they're using this feature.
To just describe it quickly, disappearing messages is just you send messages and they disappear after a set period of time, and they're basically using them to, like, as far as what we saw, I'll put it in double quotes, avoid lawsuits.
That's part of
a red flag.
Now the thing is, any F1 team put in this position can quite easily turn around and say, look, this is our company policy, we're handling sensitive information, cybersecurity. There's a lot of things that they can say that are the reasons for operating in that way. Now, Palou's team have basically argued that in doing that, McLaren have erased evidence that could be used against them. Now, Zak Brown's refuted this, and I think his exact quote was rubbish. He's denied that completely. And from McLaren's side, they're basically saying, look, this is what we do. This is how we operate. We haven't gone out of our way to
delete messages,
tamper with evidence. Now, this is going to be a big point of contention, as we've seen this week, because it doesn't bode well. You know, you've got a legal case ongoing, and you haven't got the correct evidence in some ways. So it doesn't look great from McLaren's side, but they have got that defense there of, this is what we do, this is how we protect ourselves.
A certain someone should have used disappearing messages.
Anyway, no more team principal disputes today, don't go. But no, the fact of the matter is, I think you could argue it either way, that both sides have an equally strong or an equally weak case, because
they're equally on level.
Equally something, because McLaren don't have evidence, and Palou said, well, I did what you said I did, I just don't want to pay 20 million about it. So this last stage will basically depend on, I suppose, the judgment of the court, how much money needs to be paid, and, you know, who has the stronger case and can provide more information. But generally, it's not good for anyone involved. This is not what McLaren need at the moment.
Especially when the drivers' battle is this intense currently.
Yes, you know, they do not need a media storm centered around Zak Brown doesn't like Oscar. Like, they don't need that. Did you like that? That was for you.
Yes.
No, they don't need that at the moment. Because things were already pretty bad coming out of Singapore. There's been, as we were saying earlier, there's been a lot of discourse between the fans. Norris fans are fighting with the Piastri fans. Piastri fans are fighting with McLaren as a whole. Other team fans are pointing and laughing. This is really not what McLaren need at the moment from a sort of optics point of view. And it's also not what any team's going to want. You know, they've just won something massive. They're going to have another title win in the next couple of months as well. They do not need this overshadowing it.
But unfortunately, I feel like it's a bit too late to say that because of how much heat this thing has generated. So what I want to get my clearance on is, was Piastri, how should I put it, involved in this case at all? Because I feel like Palou just pushed him in because he was being signed on to McLaren at the same time this whole Palou thing was going on.
I personally would say that I don't think this is a Piastri specific thing, because at the end of the day, it's a racing team. Racing teams are always looking at new drivers. They're always looking at new talent. They're always looking at who they think is going to perform best for them. This could have been any driver, you know?
Could have. Correct.
It just so happens that it was Piastri that came and took the seat. And obviously that just, as we're saying, in this current period where everything's kicking off from all sides, it doesn't bode well now. But at that point in time, it could have been any driver. I think the only way that Piastri really comes into it is he's the one that took the seat, but did he take the seat? That's the big question.
Was that seat even assigned to Palou? That's the question, right?
Exactly. But that's still not relevant to the actual legal proceedings, because the case is simply about money, damages. Does Palou have to pay that money? It's not about, did you promise me an F1 seat and give it to someone else? That's not the case. And I think that's where there's confusion from a lot of different sides. And obviously,
I think the actual confusion is coming from whether So was Palou supposed to partner Lando Norris for 2020, from 2023 onwards? But when he denied, McLaren like instantly found a replacement for him, which was like, I wouldn't call it a replacement in this context, but yeah, you get the point. It happened to be Oscar Piastri.
Well, from McLaren's side, McLaren's argument is we wanted to give you a seat in IndyCar in our McLaren. We offered you the role as our development driver, as our reserve driver. We were not offering you an F1 seat.
Correct.
We may have said down the line that's a possibility, but their argument at the moment is, and at the time when this all started, because obviously, as we say, this now is about the money, their argument would have been, it's a maybe. Everything in F1 is a maybe. There's no guarantee for anything. So, we did guarantee you an IndyCar seat, and we did guarantee you a reserve driver role and a development role. We did not guarantee you an F1 seat. So that's where the grey area is coming from. There was, I don't think, I remember at the time it happening and everyone's going, oh, is Palou going to partner Norris? I don't think it ever got that far publicly. Internally, we don't know. We don't know. And regardless of what happens, we will probably never know exactly what went wrong there, because it's one of those things. We will probably never find out exactly what was promised to who, but we see how fast the sport moves on.
Yeah.
It could have been anyone. It could have been nothing. It could have been anyone. Obviously, McLaren and Palou are both arguing two different things. We kind of have to see how this wraps up. Will Palou have to pay the 20 million?
Yeah, exactly. What implication does this have for the McLaren F1 situation?
Well, it doesn't set the best of precedents from a lot of different perspectives. So there are a lot of factors here that are kind of implicated. So the precedent it sets about contracts is one thing. We do on occasion see contracts not be fulfilled or not be broken, whether that be down to team or driver. We see drivers walk away from teams before they're supposed to. Piastri with Alpine, for example, it's all roads lead back to Piastri apparently in this case, and he's done nothing wrong really. So
he's just there, just
it's
guy
kind of
who is in the McLaren seat.
It's kind of a similar situation. However, McLaren basically they paid for it with Alpine. As far as I'm aware, he was bought out of Alpine. They took him away. The difference here is that Palou doesn't want to pay. So kind of what happens. We could have gone down this route if McLaren said, we don't want to pay for Oscar Piastri. That sounds really bad, but you know what I mean. So it's kind of a similar situation, just with a different outcome. But yeah, it doesn't set a great precedent for driver contracts, because essentially the outcome of this case will basically just test how bulletproof contract clauses are, and that's not really something that a lot of people are going to be happy with. Team principals do not want drivers finding loopholes. Drivers do not want their bosses finding ways to get rid of them. It basically will demonstrate how strong or how weak those clauses are, and at what point can you just break a contract. So from both sides, that's not ideal, because McLaren do not want to be perceived as promising young drivers positions and then taking it away. And from Palou's side, he doesn't want to look like a driver that's not fulfilling expectations, because that doesn't make him an attractive prospect for any racing team. So yeah, that's like the reputational risk for both parties. It doesn't look great on either side. There's no one really coming out 100% clean in this.
I mean,
McLaren.
it would be the implications that come out from this case, right? Then it will be like Palou is someone that never honors his contract, and McLaren is someone who also back out of a promise. So again, you have these implications that hurt prospects for both the sides actually. I think the biggest implication here is that entire to answer that entire Zak Brown Oscar Piastri thing. I don't think that's a thing,
No.
even if some people do like to believe so. I don't think that's a thing. We're not going to get into that whole uh, thing between Norris's company and Zak Brown. That all of that is not something that we know about. It's not something we want to talk about, and because we don't have any information.
Yeah, I mean, the fact of the matter is, this case has opened up a lot of other topics in the media, in the sport. It's not about Oscar Piastri. It's not about favoritism. It's not about any of those things. It is literally just about how much money Palou has to pay McLaren. That's it. that is literally the bare bones of it. The most straightforward way of putting it. It is just all the other elements are kind of irrelevant, and they're kind of getting blown out of proportion.
Yeah, I mean, I
As
think
things
it's
do.
just the state of current media, right? You say one thing, people like to imply another thing, and then you get called names.
Yeah.
I mean, you disagree with them, they call you Nazis. So just it's just how the entire world operates for nowadays. But
Yeah.
there's nothing, at least from the information we have, the entire case is about the 20 million. That's it.
Yeah. It's just a financial dispute. It's just
And it's
it's really
proven that Palou does owe McLaren that much money. But the case is Palou won't be paying 20 million, so they'll have to settle at an amount that is possible between them.
yeah, so basically either he's going to be told, no, you have to pay McLaren 20 million, or it's going to be settled in a different way, a different amount. But yeah, I mean, the precedent.
Different way, or it might be, Palou might be told to actually like serve as a uh, technical support driver for the team for this many years or something to make up for it. We don't know what the result from
I
this
mean,
case would be.
unlikely, but yeah. I don't think they want him hanging about the factory as much as he doesn't want to be there either. So, but yeah, essentially that's kind of what it comes down to. It's just how they settle this and what the outcome is. It has nothing to do with the 2025 World Championship. It has nothing to do with Norris and Piastri. It has nothing to do with the Singapore Grand Prix. It is literally just
Money.
how much money do we get out of this? That's it.
That's it.
There are a lot of complexities with the wider implications, as we've already touched on. The commercial sponsorship side of things. It's not ideal for either side. So if I'm either side in this, I want this settled as quickly as possible, quietly, and just let's all move on, because the optics are bad for both sides, essentially. The longer this goes on, the longer this gets drawn out. Palou's not gonna look trustworthy to any potential future employers, and McLaren are not gonna look loyal to their drivers. So they need to wrap it up, basically. It's in the best interest of both sides to wrap it up and move swiftly along. So we just basically need to wait now until November. When that news does come, we will provide updates. It's a bit hard to clarify some things because it is an ongoing case at this time. And again, I have to apologise for the timeline because it's very messy.
Yeah.
Like, I remember when this all kicked off in the first place. I remember the news coming through that he would be joining McLaren, and then the news that he wasn't joining McLaren, and then obviously the snowball effect when Piastri wasn't going to Alpine. Like, it's been a busy that was a busy summer, I think.
Yep.
For the McLaren legal team. I think they were working overtime that summer.
And the PR team.
And the PR team. But I think the PR team is always working overtime at McLaren. So
Especially now.
especially at the moment. But yeah, I think, hopefully that will clear things up a little bit. In all fairness, the media are just reporting what is coming out of court, what's being said in court, within the limitations that they're allowed to report. So these things are being said about Zak Brown and Oscar Piastri. These are components of the case, but they are not what the case is about. And that's kind of the most important distinction, I suppose, that we're trying to clarify.
Yeah. I think,
Any
yeah,
more
that's
questions?
about it. Yeah, I don't think there are any. I think we covered pretty much all the bases. But if you do have any questions, just write them in the comments wherever you're watching this video. And we'll try to get back to you either by replying in the comments, or maybe we might even take it up in the next podcast. You know?
Yes, and obviously keep an eye on our website as well, because as this story continues to unfold, we will be providing the updates as well as over across all of our social media. But yeah, keep an eye out for any updates. We are sure there will be some.
Many.
So many, yes. But I think that's all from us for today. We will be back with more.
We will be.
We're always back with more.
All right,
Anyway,
everyone.
Thank you for watching. We hope this helped.
We hope you. And please, if you did, please show your appreciation. We
Like and
appreciate it.
subscribe.
All right, thanks. Bye, everyone.
Bye.